everybody. This is Brian Ankney with AutoSuccess Magazine. Hey, I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to join us today. Today, we're going to talk about how to increase sales and gross profits through customer appreciation. And my guest is Armin Balian. But before we get started, a couple things I'd like to share with you. One, if you have not been to the new AutoSuccess website, you should go there. Check it out. We've got a lot of new things, a lot of new exciting ways to learn and find and reach some of our speakers, some of our writers, our podcasts. We also have a new feature to keep you up to date with everything that we're doing. If you go to our website, you can type in your cell phone number and register to get a text message of the magazine. As far as I know, we're the first in the industry to be able to text message our magazine out, and so now we're going to do that every month. That way you can get the magazine, you can read it on your phone, whether you're in an airport, whether you are on the lot or at your desk, you can read the magazine. And another thing before we get started, I'd like to go over how to ask questions. Now, we're going to hold all the questions to the end, but depending on what type of device you're on, and it seems the more devices I try this on, the more different ways that it works. But if you're on a tablet or a PC or a laptop, you'll have a pane that runs somewhere down the right side of your screen. Near the bottom, it says questions. Hit the plus sign. It'll expand. You type in a question. And go ahead and type those in throughout the webinar. We'll address all of them at the end, but go ahead and type them in during the webinar. Now, if you are on a smartphone, this is where there are a million different interfaces because there's a million different manufacturers. But whether it's an Android or an Apple, somewhere you're either going to have a picture frame that goes around the screen, or you'll have a header or a footer, or it might run down the side. Somewhere on that footer, header, or picture frame, there'll be a question mark. You click that, and then it'll open up a screen. You type in a question. Some devices let you swipe to get rid of it. Some you have to hit this another icon that kind of looks like a desktop monitor. Please enter your questions as we go, because at the end we'll address all the questions. Armin, if you would, please take us away, my friend.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. My name is Armin Balian. I'm from Marketing by Appreciation, and we provide customer appreciation program for auto dealers across the nation and Canada. And there's a lot of things we've learned over the last 20 some odd years that we've been in business, almost 30 years. And I wanted to definitely share some of those and take some questions and have a good learning session today. First slide, please. So here's a bunch of questions that are relevant today. Some of it has been relevant forever and a day, and some of it is even more difficult today in the environment of auto dealers. Is the deck stacked against you? Customers know the real cost of the vehicle. Competition gives away all their cars. The internet. That is the main thing. That it kind of has, for lack of better terms, it has really flattened the playing field. And the factory keeps on shrinking the margins. They're trying to force dealers more towards service as opposed to making money on the vehicle. And it's harder to source pre-owned inventory affordably, even though that's going to be changing very soon. We can't get good people to work on our sales floor. Yeah, that's been a complaint forever and a day. So at the end of the day, we have a situation where it's become more of a commodity business, and in any kind of a commodity market, the item is the same from one seller to another, and therefore it's not about the item, it's about the people involved and how customers are treated. So how can a dealership increase sales and gross profit, especially keeping in mind about a commodity type industry or commodity type market in today's competitive market? So next slide, please. So there's the hard deals and easy deals. There's those that people come in and say, hey, I have the cash, I need to buy the car, that's the car I want, let's go. And then there are those deals that they sit down for 8 hours and grind you. So which do you prefer to work? Some people love that whole grinding thing, probably people that should be attorneys, but not everyone is into that. Which do you make more money on, the easy deal or the hard deal? The guy that isn't going to mess around, he needs a car or she needs a car, and they're willing to give you the cash right away or give you a check right away, or the one that's going to grind you. Which do your salespeople prefer which do your salespeople make more money on? So do you think it's time to start attracting more easy deals to your showroom? And how do you do that? And how do you turn it into an easy deal, even if it's a hard deal? Is there a process? When does the sales process begin and end? Especially the question is, when does the sales process end? And believe it or not, it's not when they take the vehicle. It ends about 90 days later. So we're going to be discussing that as well. Next slide. Are all of these the same thing or not? Customer appreciation, customer retention, loyalty, cross-sale, and gathering the information, the survey. All of these are exclusive of one another, but they have overlapping areas, and they lead to one another. And surveys is one of the most important component of it. You know, I've heard of a lot of dealers say, oh, we survey our customers to death. Well, they get the CSI from the factory. Our CRM system sends out an email CSI, this CSI, that survey, this survey. Every survey has a different end in mind. The factory CSI surveys are really meant to beat you up and be able to reduce your bonuses. I mean, they'll tell you otherwise, but the reality is, with such a low response rate and negative response rate, they're loving it. You know, they're beating you guys up left and right. So you got to be able to survey with the right survey, the right process, and ask the right questions that are going to benefit you and not hurt you. And that's part of the whole idea of how do we appreciate the customer? How do we retain that customer? How do we create that loyalty? Did we do what they expected? Are we referable? We want referrals. Are we referable? And those cross sales, all those items, all those services that are being sold in the F&I department, there's what's called buyer fatigue. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that, where in the process of the sale, you could put a bar of gold in front of the person, in front of the buyer, and say, here's a free bar of gold. Here's $10,000 of gold. Would you like it? And they'll say, no, 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 I'm done. The only word coming out of my only word coming out of my mouth is no. Just let me sign and get the hell out of here. Then a week later, oh man, I should have taken that. So we're going to get into that as well. Repeat and referral businesses are the easiest, and that's exactly what we want to get more of. Next slide, please. So additional revenues and new clients starts with the word thank you. You know, when we're young, we're always told, you know, those families that still teach manners still do, and I know a lot of the people that are in this business have to be well-mannered, otherwise you can't be in this business. And part of good mannerism is to thank someone. When someone gives you something, you say thank you. Money is the ultimate, or is the highest item in the pecking order of things. And when someone hands you their hard-earned money, they had a choice. They could have gone somewhere else and handed that money to someone else. It's your privilege to have them as a customer. So when they do business with you, you have to thank them and not ever take them for granted or think that, hey, of course I had the best product. Well, the other same dealership down the street or next town over, they have the same product too. So it's not you know, you didn't do them a favor. They did you a favor by coming to you. And you need to wow them, because the customer knows that too. I could have gone to XYZ Ford versus ABC Ford. And you know, you have to wow them to say, hey, look, we really appreciate you choosing us, and we want more of your business, and we're going to earn it every single time you come here, and we're going to do our best. And we're really, really going to take good care of you, and we're always going to appreciate you, never take you for granted, because you are the reason that we are here. We're not here, you don't serve us, we serve you. And that's the mindset that's going to be extremely important. The law of reciprocity it's one of those words, is very powerful. Uh, when they chose to buy that SUV that they could have bought in another dealership, you know, send them something. Hey, thank them. Give them a gift, small gift. It doesn't matter, just something to appreciate. When I bought a car last year, about 14 months ago, all I got was emails, and that delete button's pretty quick. So it's not it's just doing something out of the ordinary makes you extraordinary, and that's something that a lot of dealers unfortunately don't realize, that they have to be extraordinary. Next slide. Send the client a gift and thank them for the business. Now, food is the most primal object that we run across. The memory of scent and taste is extremely powerful, and when you're able to associate good memory of scent and taste with your business, they always remember you. Now, if you think that's not true, I bet you remember every single meeting you sat in that had red vines or donuts or some sort of good food, but all the other meetings you probably don't remember. And that's meetings, let alone a big purchase, the second biggest purchase in someone's life, first being their car, their house, and the second being their car. So you want to do something that's going to associate their most primal instinct to you. And you want it to be a branding tool. So you want it to have your name and possibly their name attached to that object. So yeah, you can go get a Starbucks card and send it to them, and you're going to promote Starbucks, not you. So you want to make sure that whatever you send has your information, and preferably the customer's information, that this is for you, not for everyone else. We didn't buy 1,000 of these for everyone. We bought one for you. You are the best. You are awesome. And that's what makes you, the dealer, extraordinary. Next, please. Send every customer a thank you package. And you want to include a personal thank you card, personalized, not necessarily handwritten, but at least their name on there. Information about other complementary products, that's the F&I department. A survey to collect crucial business and marketing information, and make sure they don't have to stick a stamp on it. Either they can go online and fill it out with a personalized URL or ID number that's personalized to them, or they send that information in. Again, do not force them to put a stamp on it. It will reduce the response rate. Survey to collect the crucial business and marketing information. That is very, very important. Now you've made yourself extraordinary. Now you've got the wow, you got the pop. Hey, I want that information from you. Can you please send it in? They feel guilty. It works. They send it in. I know in our business, our customers achieve an average of 33% response rate, with better than 95% completion of the survey cards. The biggest survey company in the industry, which I will not name, but everyone knows who it is, has a 12% response rate with a 20% completion. So it's actually about a 2.4% response rate. So we're able to achieve certain things that others are not. But again, it all comes back to how is it presented to the customer, and how do you get that information back, and what are you able to get from them? What information is going to make you more money, help them get better product and service, and make you a more proactive sales organization in the future? Next slide, please. So I touched on this. From our experience, our customers get a 33% response rate, and the survey you send out should be customized, asking for sales data and referrals. Now, the survey should have the CSI component because you want to know if they're happy with you. And if they're not happy with you, then you may think you're doing awesome, but customers' perception is your reality. So you have to be able to understand what it is that the customers, that your target market thinks of you, and be able to adjust to that. You may not want to adjust to that. You may not think it's necessary, but when your customers say it's necessary, guess what? It's necessary because it's, again, going back to their hard-earned money that they have choices. They'll go to where they feel comfortable. So you got to make sure you are the most comfortable location for them. It's important to utilize the data you collect to produce management reports on the results. You have to look at the results on an ongoing basis. Even if you're doing awesome, you have the President's Award, you have this and that award, those are all internal. Customers really don't care or understand what the President's Award is, okay? They care about their relationship with you, and you have to make sure that you're getting a straight A report card every quarter, okay? When we went to school, we got quarterly report cards, not, oh, the first year you got reports cards, you were doing great, well, you know what, you'll get your next one 5 years later, 4 years later when you graduate high school. No, you're getting quarterly report cards. Even if you're getting straight A's every quarter, you're getting quarterly report cards to make sure you are getting those straight A's. So it's very important to always be on top of that and make sure you keep that higher scores from your customers, because that's what's going to lead to referrals, and we'll get to that. Next slide, please. Keep in touch using cards. Now, yes, emails, technology, all those are wonderful, and there's awesome, awesome companies and services that do a very effective job. The only problem with technology is that delete button. It takes less than a second to hit that delete button, and I know personally I hit the delete button more often than I probably should, but the number of emails I get and everybody else gets, you know what, if it's important, they'll get back to me. So hit delete quite often. Sometimes I'll go back to the delete box and browse through it, but most of the time, no. If you get a postcard, a direct mail, a magazine, something, you at least look at it for 2 seconds before throwing it out. Well, if you're interested, you're going to keep it. If not, you're going to throw it out. You got a 2-second look that the email did not. Yes, it costs more, but people are getting less and less items in the mail, which makes it very, very effective. Less clutter, 150 emails versus 2 or 3 items in the mail. So suddenly you're in the top 3 items that they look at. Birthday cards, no one sends out a birthday card anymore. So you want to send out a birthday card. It's something tangible. They hang on to it. They look at it. Wow, this is really cool. And again, it makes you extraordinary, not the ordinary emails that everybody else sends. And you want to make sure that everything is as much as customized as possible, but systematically sent and actually sent. When I used to be in commercial banking for 20 years, we would get cards that we would have to send out to customers every year, and everybody's cubicle, everybody's office, we had stacks of cards because we never sent them out. Outsource it. Make sure it's done systematically, that a company responsibly does it and stays in touch with your customer base. It's a lot easier at that point, and it actually gets done at an effective cost. Next slide, please. So touching on doing it yourself versus hiring a partner company, you definitely want to hire a company that is doing this for a living. Okay, so you don't want to go to a print shop and say, hey, can you do this for me? Well, no, they're a print shop. They're good at printing, but they may not be good at organizing your send-outs in a timely manner and in a systematic manner as well. So you can go to someone like Mrs. Fields. Could you send out a tin of cookies? Okay, but we don't necessarily send it out customized unless you pay a huge amount of money, and we don't necessarily put a card with it, and we don't send out cards after the fact, like a birthday card or a referral reward card or a service survey card or purchase anniversary card. Yeah, we don't do any of that. We just do cookies. So that becomes difficult as well. You go to send out cards. Yeah, we'll send it out as soon as you order it. So you have to manage it, and you have to tell us. Okay, well, all those companies are great at what they do, but they may not be the best at systematic and timed send-outs that is really meant for a different end result altogether combined, not just individual components. So you want to make sure you have a company that you can just one time send in the order. They can prioritize it. They can put it into a systematic and timed sequenced, the most important part, sequenced send-outs where they send out the initial gift, they send out the survey, they tabulate the survey, they send out the birthday card, they send out the referral reward card, they send out the anniversary card. All these are ways to keep in touch with your customer and not have to think about it, yet you are now becoming extraordinary because your competitive dealer is not doing that. So again, goes back to extraordinary. On your own, if you try to do this in-house, it's going to cost you a lot more because now you're going to have to not only hire a person, but the system and all the equipment and all the inventory to be able to put this together on a daily basis and send it out. And suddenly you start carving out a portion of your showroom for this separate business when you're not in that business. You're in the car business. So allow someone else to do it in a more effective manner. Next slide, please. So what's in it for me? You thank the client with a great gift. That's your marketing piece. That's what's in it for you. So as long as it's got your logo, preferably their name, that stays in the household or in the office. Generate valuable data. You want that data back. You want to know what they're thinking of you. You want the referrals. You want to generate cross-sales for the F&I department. You want to get future data on when they may be buying a car next. You may be wanting to get data and be able to put that together for mailing lists as to how many cars do they have that may be needing to be sold at some time or another. So we forget that it's not just the person in front of us. It's how much other revenue we can get from that person if we were to penetrate into that household and sell more cars to that household. What are the opportunities? That one $30,000 transaction can turn into millions of dollars over the next 10 years. So we forget that, and we leave so much business on the table, and we want to capture that. Besides, if your F&I department, if they can increase their sales by 10-15%, and 90 days after, up to 90 days after the initial sale of the car, they will really, really love it, and I'm sure the dealership will be much more profitable. Next slide, please. What's it going to cost to implement an appreciation program in my store? The better question is, what will it cost if you don't? The implementation of the program really doesn't cost all that much, shouldn't cost all that much, because if it's a company that knows what they're doing, that's doing this for a living, then they have everything set up. It's just a matter of the text being different, or the different timed and sequenced send outs. So everything should be very, very easy, and it shouldn't cost much to set up. If you don't do it, you're not extraordinary. You're not different from the other dealer. Remember, the other dealer had the same SUV as you. So you got to do something that's different than them. And you want to be able to do that to then get those referrals and easy sales. Avoid programs with minimum orders. Those are not companies that are doing that for a living. Those are individual product companies that may be adding on other things to make it look appealing. You got to have a company that can take on 1 order or 100 orders. So, minimums are not a fun thing. Costs get really out of control at that point. Next slide, please. A good starting basic program. Thank you package with survey, package with customized, tin of cookies, multiple follow-up cards. So every customer, no matter if it's a $10,000 sale or a $100,000 sale, every customer has to be treated the same way in order to be able to better gauge the response rate from your customer base. And again, you're not sure, you don't know what other business you can get from that $10,000 sale. That may be for a starter car for the 16-year-old, and there's 3 other cars in the family that may need to be turned over in the next 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. So you don't know that. So you want to make sure you treat everyone equally and penetrate into that household. And the package you set up should have some timed and sequenced send-outs to stay at the top of mind, to stay extraordinary. Next slide. Well, any questions at this point?
Actually, Armin, yeah, everybody, this is Brian with AutoSuccess again. Hey, actually, we've got a few questions already typed in, and please, everybody, type in your questions now. Our first question, Armin, is how many referrals should be the goal per customer?
Referrals are really a tricky subject, and let me explain why. From the beginning, you have, first, are you referable? So you can't expect referrals if you haven't figured out if you're referable. So you need to gauge yourself. You need to make sure that survey asks the right questions and you have better than 95% response rate. I'm sorry, a 95% completely satisfied rate. Recently, I saw someone post on LinkedIn, oh, we got a 93% completely satisfied, and I'm sitting there laughing at them saying, you're still not referable, because from our experience, our customers, if they're better than 95% completely satisfied, that's when they get referrals. As soon as they fall below 95, referrals stop. Secondly, referrals have, the person has to know someone who's in the market to buy a car. So that is where it becomes dicey and timed. And just because you sold someone now doesn't mean they're going to give you a referral now. They may be giving you a referral 90 days, 180, 360 days from now. But to be referable, you need to stay at the top of mind. Our experience, we're getting about anywhere from, actually about average of about 6% referral rate, sometimes up to 8% referral rate. And those are the referrals that we generate with name and phone number. But when we look at the surveys and tabulate the surveys, there is the referrals that our customers get is more along the lines of about 12 to 15% of their business's referral.
All right. What should our budget be per sale for gifts and mailings?
It costs, last time I checked, and this may be different for each brand and each marketplace, but it seems like the average customer acquisition cost is about $400 to $500. It used to be a lot higher. It's about $400 to $500 to acquire one customer. So I would say if you were to take, less than 10% of that amount and spend it on your existing customers and be able to thank them and make yourself extraordinary, that will allow you to increase your revenue in the F&I department and become referable. So right. less than $40.
Nice.
I know what our price is, and it's far below that.
Far below that. Armin, how often should we send something per year, and for how long?
I would say go for 1 year, and then let the electronic portion take over after that, because the thrill of the ownership diminishes over time, and you definitely want to hit them during that thrilling period. So 4 times a year, not more than that. Would send out products. For example, you start out with a gift and a survey. About 90 to 100 days after, we send out a service survey. Now, the service survey is not necessarily to gauge the service department like other service surveys do that are sent directly after they come in. This is more along the lines of general, how are we doing? Are we still performing to your satisfaction? And if we are, you've had the car for 90 days. I'm sure you've had friends that love it. Can you give us a name and phone number? And we actually generate sales through the service surveys. So again, it goes back to everything, every part of the dealership is selling, regardless of where they're actually doing their daily task. So 4 times a year, 5 times a year, and you want to hit them, kind of harder in the beginning and taper it off, and then let electronics take over after the first year.
Okay. Actually, this is a very timely question. Armin, do you recommend sending Christmas cards?
Christmas cards, probably. Christmas in particular is difficult depending on your marketplace. I certainly love getting a Christmas card, but there may be customers that may or may not be offended. I don't know. That's always difficult. So if you want to call it a holiday card, happy holidays, that definitely makes a difference. What's more effective is birthday. You don't know what they celebrate, but everyone has a birthday. So birthday cards are a lot more effective, and it's more personal.
All right. What percentage of customers do you see giving referrals?
The percentage of customers giving referrals is about, we experience about 6%, sometimes down to 4, sometimes up to 8. However, again, when we tabulate our customers' surveys, we see 12, 15, 20% of their business being referrals. So the referrals don't necessarily come through me, per se, in our program, so I'm not quite sure. I can't give a specific number to that question, but I know based on the surveys that we tabulate, our best customers, best performing dealers are generating up to 20% of their sales through referrals.
Wow. Wow.
And it takes
Armin,
a lot to stay there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
And it takes a lot to stay there, because you have to be perfection-minded. You have to know where you're right and where you're wrong as a dealer or operator, and you have to be on top of everything every day. We had a dealer that was generating 40 referrals a year when they were at 96.5% completely satisfied rating on their CSI portion of our survey, not the factory survey. When they changed certain things, they dropped down to 94, which is still very respectable. Those 40 went down to 15.
Wow.
So you have to be perfection-oriented and take the information seriously.
Armin, do you send the spouse and the children birthday cards too?
Not necessarily the children, but the spouse definitely.
Nice, nice. I think I know where that comes from. We had Fran Taylor on recently, and that's one of the things that he recommends doing. So I imagine that whoever asked that question, you probably were on our webinar about a month ago with Fran, because that's one of the things that he recommends. Well, everybody, if you have any more questions, please type them in right away. That's all the ones that I have right now, Armin. Just a couple things before we go. If you haven't joined AutoSuccess webinars yet on Facebook, which I'm sure y'all have heard this a million times from me, please do join. It's a place, it's on Facebook. You type it in, AutoSuccess Webinars, request to join the group. Once you're in the group, you can interact with my speakers, you can interact with myself, you can interact with our AutoSuccess team, you can suggest future speakers, suggest future topics, but most importantly, everybody on this phone call today, y'all probably have 2 pages of notes of things that you plan to do, and some of them are going to be easy, some of them are going to be hard, and you're going to have successes, you're going to have failures. And so is everybody else on the phone call. So I invite you to please share your successes and your failures. Share your great ideas with each other. And AutoSuccess Webinars, I hope, can be a forum for you to do that. Armin, is there anything that you would like to leave with our guests today before we let them go?
Just the last page of the presentation. I'm not sure if we fixed that. It's the email is abalian@mba-co.com, not mbalian.
Yes, it's abalian at mba-co.com.
Yeah. So definitely be extraordinary. You have to be extraordinary. You have to perform, and you have to listen to your customers. That's what's going to make you a success.
Well, great. Armin, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share this information with our guests. And everybody on the call, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. And I hope to have both you, Armin, and everybody on the call back again for a future webinar. Everybody have a great afternoon, and have a great Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.